Hello and welcome to this Adeptus Mechanicus detachment review, where today we're going to be looking at the Skitarii Hunter Cohort, and we're going to be looking at the actual detachment rule, the enhancements, the stratagems, some units that particularly shine in this detachment, and we're just going to look at a new Adeptus Mechanicus detachment.
I know, I'm excited.
I know, yeah.
So first thing I'm going to caveat with this, this is the Skitarii themed detachment.
Who would have guessed?
So as you all see, all of the themes, all of the rules are mostly benefiting around being Skitarii.
Yes.
Like the detachment rules. This is stealth optimization.
Okay.
So this is Skitarii infantry, Skitarii mounted, and Iron Strider Ballistari.
Right.
So the Dragoon people.
Yep.
They get stealth.
Does this thing get stealth?
No. Because it is not any of those.
Okay.
However, if you have the Sikaran keyword,
Yep.
you also get cover while you're outside 12 inches.
Okay, and
Because
what's
they already
Sikaran?
have. So Sikaran are Rust Stalkers and your infiltrators.
Okay, cool.
So put in short, Skitarii, so your Cerberus Raiders, Rangers, Vanguard, Sulphur Hounds, the
Batman.
the Bat People, not the tank.
Not the tank.
And your Chicken Walkers.
Okay.
They get stealth.
Cool.
The Iron Strider Ballistari gets stealth.
Yeah.
The only reason the Dragoons don't is because they already have stealth.
Okay,
So they
sure.
don't need it.
Yeah.
But then if you're Sikaran, you get the bit of cover.
Cool.
Not gonna lie, it's okay. It's not great, but it's okay. Like
okay.
having -1 to hit on Skitarii is nice.
Well, if you built your army around that, then you're getting your benefits out of it.
Ironically, Belisarius Cool would be really good in this detachment.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's not Skitarii because he can give out a cover aura.
Yeah.
So then you have stealth, cover, and then if you go the the Protector Imperative, you also reduce AP by 1.
Yeah.
So you've just got like a very good stack there of your -1 to hit, and you're essentially ignoring AP2.
Yeah, nice.
Pretty good.
I like it.
But yeah, that's the detachment rule. It's okay.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, it's pretty average. The thing is, I don't like about it is there's a lot more. I mean, I would have liked it maybe if this got stealth as well.
The Onager.
The Onager, whatever he is, the crab.
The Onager. Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs.
It's George.
It's George. Because the thing is when you look at other detachments like the Space Marine Vanguard detachment, it's everyone.
Well, this is the thing is the Space Marine book is just affecting every model.
Yeah.
The Tyranid book was where we were seeing certain units getting affected.
Yeah.
And we're seeing this again.
You're
So
seeing
it
it
is
again.
a shame.
Yeah.
However, let's hope the enhancements can bring it back.
Let's do it, mate.
But before we continue, I'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, The Outpost. If you're looking for great deals on your miniatures, paints and gaming supplies, we've got you covered. Their wide variety of exceptional service makes them the go-to destination for all hobby needs. So don't wait, check out The Outpost today. Link in the description below.
Okay, Jake, so what's the first enhancement?
So the first enhancement is Canaptic Full Net.
Yeah.
So this is the Skitarii Marshal upgrade.
Yeah.
Now, if you were familiar with the Rad cohort, you would have previously known this as archived Purge protocols.
Okay.
Because this is basically it.
Sure.
So Skitarii Marshal only, at the start of the battle round, you can select one friendly Skitarii unit within 12 inches of the bearer. Until the start of the next battle round, you count that unit as having both the Conqueror and the Protector Imperatives.
Okay.
So what that means is that they get heavy and assault. And on top of that, if they shoot a unit in your opponent's deployment zone, they get an extra AP. And if they're being shot, they're -1 AP if they're in your deployment zone.
Perfect.
Pretty good. What's really nice about this is you can use this on your Iron Strider Ballistari, your Dragoons. I'd probably more recommend using this on a shooting unit because if you use it on a combat unit, you're out of your deployment zone anyway.
Yeah, sure.
Overall, it's not great. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's something. It's something. There's definitely one other enhancement I'd want more than this, and it's not the next one.
Right.
It's clandestine infiltrate. This is just going to be the comment section of people having a go at us about. And what this does is Skitarii model only. So bear in mind the only 2 Skitarii heroes in this book are the new sniper model. And Peter Crouch, as I love to call him, and the Marshal. So you could use this on either of them. I probably would use this on neither of them. And this Skitarii model only, the bearer and the models in the unit gain Infiltrator and they can Scout 6.
Okay, so obviously you're just going to be giving...
You just give the single model Infiltrator, which is okay. Because when we go to the stratagems, it could maybe bring it back for us.
Sure.
To have like a model like that starting outside your deployment zone. It's okay on the Marshal because what you could do is you could put a Marshal in a unit of Vanguard. And then they can start a bit further.
Sure.
I wouldn't put this in Rangers because they get a scout move anyway.
Right, sure.
So having, like, just giving them infiltrator doesn't feel like that worth it.
No, not really.
Yeah, it's okay. Like, you can't, if you could join something like Rust Stalkers, this enhancement would be amazing. So that's probably why you can't join Rust Stalkers.
Yeah.
But sadly, Deathwing Knights didn't get the memo.
Yeah.
So then next we've got probably one of the best enhancements out of all of them.
Sure.
A Veiled Hunter.
Yeah.
So Skitarii Marshal only after both players have deployed their armies and determined who has the first turn. Really key here, this is exact caveated that this is done after the first turn roll, which some of the redeploys as a current state of the game, because of the indexes, do not have that stipulation.
Sure.
So you may even get to see your opponents redeploy before you see your own, before you get to do it, right? Depending on what event you're playing at, they could rule it differently. And then you can select up to 3 Skitarii infantry units from your army and redeploy all of those units. And when doing so, you can place those units into strategic reserve, regardless of how many units are already in strategic reserve.
Yep.
So you could combo this. You could have the infiltrator ability to put a unit out, and then if you go, oh, actually, I don't want to do that, you can take them off the table.
Sure.
This is more good for things like the birdmen, the bat people with the flamers. It's good for them because you could have them on the table as maybe a first turn alpha strike and realise you're not going first, put them in strategic reserve, that then allows them to use their deep strike ability. You could use this on Rangers or Vanguard or any sort of thing. Again, when I say this is one that you would want, this is because we've got to remember the theme of the army is Skitarii.
Yes.
So we're assuming in our head we're taking lots of Skitarii units.
Yeah.
So this is why you'd want this.
Yes.
Maybe you don't.
Maybe you don't.
But then finally we've got Battlesphere uplink.
Okay.
I do like this. So this is in your shooting phase. So any Skitarii model in your army, that's a hero.
Yep.
In your shooting phase, after the bearer's unit has shot, if it's not engagement range, it can make a normal move up to 6 inches.
Okay.
This is actually quite good on Peter Crouch because it means he can poke his head out, snipe, move back, do that sort of thing.
It looks like he was about to do a header. Like...
Yeah, or he could. Yeah, well, as Peter Crouch should.
Yeah.
I think I just want to run this army just for that. And then, or equally, Vanguard, same thing. Like, it gives you a shoot move, which we've seen in the Vanguard attachment, ironically, for Space Marines.
Yeah.
But again, it was limited on a unit that wasn't too great for shooting.
Yes.
This now has a lot more models in the unit that can shoot, with a bit better guns, so this could be a lot more effective. The other way you could use this well is using this offensively.
Yeah.
So you could go the Conquer Imperative, so you get Assault, you move your Vanguard up, you run them up, shoot, and then they can move on to the objective, and they've got this aura of reducing your OC.
Right.
So they could then sort of swing an objective in your favour, and you're not having to worry about, like, if you don't get the big run, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, overall, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I'm not impressed by the enhancements.
Neither's. I think the redeploy sounds fantastic.
It is fantastic, and I actually really like the Battlesphere uplink.
Yeah.
But overall, not the best. But I think as well, this is also coming from the point of view of these are characters that can only join not the best units.
Yes.
So we have to definitely be fair to it in that aspect.
Yeah.
Like the Marshal, don't get me wrong, he's pretty okay. He gives you reroll hits for your unit, and he allows you to use a stratagem that's already been used. So having sort of an ability for him where he could join a unit of Vanguard that have a lot of shots, and go, I'll infiltrate, or I'll move again, or all that sort of thing, I think is okay.
Yeah.
So I think again these enhancements are let down by who has them.
Yeah.
But hopefully the stratagems bring us back.
Yes.
And I think honestly, there's some good ones here.
Yeah. Yeah. All right then. We'll move on to them next then.
Let's take a moment to appreciate Colourforge, our fantastic sponsor. Their range of spray paints has become our go-to for making our miniatures come to life quickly and efficiently. The quality and variety of colours they offer are truly unmatched, providing a smooth application for stunning effects every time. Check out Colourforge for your next hobby project.
Okay, Jake, so what's the first strat?
So the first strat is Bionic Endurance. Okay. So again, I am just going to say, I know I've said this at the start of the video, but all of the stratagems are for Skitarii or Sicaran. So when I say this, I'm going to repeat myself a lot, but just if I don't say it, just assume that it can only be So Bionic Endurance. So this is Sicaran, Praxeti, or Siconian. basically, ironically, this is not Skitarii.
Yeah.
So this is the key name for the Skitarii Ruststalkers, the Skitarii Infiltrators, the Bird People, and the Dragoons.
Yeah.
And you do this either in your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase, just after an enemy unit is selected as a target. You get a 5 up, feel no pain.
Oh, that's
now
brilliant.
that's really good on a unit like Dragoons.
Yeah.
That you want them to sort of just be flying into combat, right?
For 1 CP, right?
Yeah, it's great for 1 CP. So far already, I think we've got the enhancement back.
Yeah.
So let's hope we can keep at this theme.
Let's do it.
So next we've got Isolate and Destroy.
Yeah.
Another great stratagem. 1 CP, your shooting phase. 1 Sakaran, Praxeti, Saconian, Iron Strider, or Skitarii mounted. So again, all the sort of faster units. So this will not affect your Onager.
Yep.
And this will not affect your Rangers or Vanguard.
Okay.
But you don't need it to. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, if there are no enemy units within 6 inches of the target, you get +1 to wound.
Oh.
So bear in mind, you've got the Flamers on your
bat people,
which received a nice little buff by the fact of now if they shoot a unit, they get reroll 1s to wound, or if that unit's on an objective, they can reroll all their wounds. So now you've got +1 to wound.
Yeah.
The only thing I will say about this is that it's quite hard to have a unit on its own like that.
It is.
Eldar don't find it that hard because their units move so quickly. But if you're familiar with this, an easy way to counter it is just by keeping at least 1 model within 6 type of stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, it's still a good stratagem in my opinion.
Brilliant.
So it cannot be understated. So next we've got Binaric Offense.
Yep.
So this is 2 CP. So this is a bit wordy, so just stay with me, people, right? Start of your shooting phase or the fight phase, you pick 2 Skitarii units from your army that have not shot or fought.
Okay.
You then, until the end of the phase, can improve your armor penetration characteristic by the weapons equipped by both those units by 1.
Right.
The only caveat is, until the end of the phase, each time a model in either of your units makes an attack, it can only target 1 enemy unit. So you pick 2 Skitarii units, 1 enemy unit, and then those 2 units can only shoot that unit or fight that unit.
Yeah.
But when doing so, you get +1 AP.
So it sounds like a caveat, but on most of the times you're going to be doing something in combat.
Yeah.
If you're doing it, they're probably going to be targeting the same unit anyway.
Combat, 100% you
Yeah.
are. The only downside is for shooting is that once you shoot 1 unit, you're now like, okay, I can't.
You've got to kind of preemptively, but it's 2 CP. You're going to use it on average once a game.
Yeah.
So you're probably only going to go.
The other thing as well is when we say like 2 units, you could go, okay, I'll use 1 unit of Flamers.
Yeah.
And this 1 Ranger can see you, so I'll shoot. So then I can use that to trigger this strat. It is 2 CP. That is the biggest thing with this.
Yeah.
But equally, if you can sort of use the effectiveness of it, the fact is only 2 Skitarii units, so you could have 2 big units of Chicken Walkers.
Yeah.
You could have in combat, you could have your Sakarans, or you could have like it just makes them
extra AP is nothing to laugh at.
No,
and I think even for 2 CP, it's still something you're going to be using.
Because if you think as well, you then could use the Conqueror. If you're in the Conqueror imperative, when you're shooting at something in your opponent's deployment zone, you get +1 AP anyway.
Yeah.
So then you've got, if you use this, you've got +2 AP.
Yeah.
And on something like a las cannon,
Yeah.
or even AP2 Flamers, like they reroll all their wounds.
Yeah,
it's pretty good.
It's nuts.
So I really like this strat because of that. Another strat I do really like, Shroud Protocols.
Okay.
Now, this stratagem is quite good.
Right. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is, when I read it, I was like, okay, I like this. Skitarii infantry unit from your army that was selected as an attack, as a target of attack. Until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected if they're within 12 inches.
Right. Okay.
So you can't shoot me strat. Really good. The fact you can use this on any Skitarii infantry unit.
Yep.
So we're looking at the Sakarans, we're looking at the Rangers, the Bird People, the Vanguard. What this means is that, I'm going to indirect shoot you. No, you're not.
Well, that actually could combo really nicely with the infiltrate enhancement.
Yeah.
Because you could infiltrate a unit of very fragile Skitarii Rangers, whatever they are.
And then you go...
you can't shoot me. You've got to come at me.
It's fantastic for mission play because you can go, okay, I'm going to go over there. Like if you're playing Scorched Earth as an example as a mission, you can, run your Vanguard up there, move on to the objective, and then, get ready for next turn. Next turn, do it, and then know that unless your opponent can physically get there, they're not going to stop you.
Yeah, and you can run an objective or something like that if you're playing Scorched Earth.
Yeah, which is great, right?
Yeah.
So I really, really like that. Next, we've got Programmed Withdrawal.
Okay.
I really like this strat.
Yeah. Seems like a theme here, mate.
I do. So I think you'll notice as well, because when we did the Vanguard review for the Space Marines, if you have watched that, I loved all the stratagems in this. And this is a very similar sort of play style.
It's same with the Tyranid one. Is this type of detachment, the sneaky type, right? It's got a lot of tricks to it.
Yeah.
Like playing it in game is actually a very tricksy army, which is cool.
So this one is end of your opponent's fight phase, you can select up to 2 Skitarii units or 1 Skitarii infantry or Skitarii mounted unit, and you remove that unit from the battlefield, providing they are not within 3 inches of an enemy unit.
Cool.
So 2 Skitarii units, so you could have double Rust Stalkers, double Infiltrators running in, using some stratagems to, really put some hurt on someone and then leave the table. Equally, you've just got Skitarii infantry unit that's chilling at the back. It's done what it's needed to. Maybe it's had to go and investigate a signal for you. It's so far out of the battle, it's not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
Bang, it can come over. Very small, fragile mounted units. So like these Cerberus Raiders, they're not the they're not the tankiest thing in the world.
No.
They can leave the table and help you with your mission play. I just love all the strats like this, and this is no exception.
Yeah.
So, and then finally, we've got Expedited Purge Protocol. So this stratagem is your charge phase, 1 Skitarii unit from your army. Until the end of the phase, your unit is eligible to charge, even if it advanced. So in the Rad Zone Corps lost this as a stratagem, and I mentioned about that, and I was very sad. But when I said that it makes its return, this is what I mean. So it's in this attachment. Great. It's just great. The fact you can use it on any Skitarii unit means you're using it on your not your Iron Striders, your Sigonian Dragoons.
Yep.
So the horse people can run and charge.
Yes.
They can have assault weapons as well, so they can do a bit of shooting as well with their pistols.
Yeah, yeah.
They can even maybe do an action or something. And then charge. You've got the Sicarans that can start in a Dune Strider, big unit 10, and then just sort of leap out. And then they can leave the table for 1 CP as well.
Yeah.
As you can say, I'm getting quite excited.
Oh, mate,
I think it's cool.
I think this is, by the sounds of it, I mean, we haven't even done the other detachments yet.
This is definitely not my favourite detachment.
Oh, okay, right. I was going to say,
sorry,
you're loving it.
I love this detachment, but only because I love this way of playing Warhammer.
Yeah.
My only thing I will say, and I do have to keep hitting it home, it's just such a shame that it is limited to Skitarii.
Yeah.
But I think as a balancing factor, I'm also very happy it's limited to Skitarii.
Yeah, I think again, it's something that you're seeing with the codexes is when you've got your standard one, which is your index, one which is a balanced play style, which is going to be fitting for any unit in the codex. But then you're going to get the other detachments, which will then fit down a specific avenue of play style of that army, right?
Of course. So in terms of, so that's all the stratagems. I'm going to give them a 9. I think they're all great. I think they all have a use. It's a shame that the binaric offense is 2 CP, but again, it is very strong if you can get that to combo. Isolate and Destroy, I think, again, is one of those stratagems where it's really, really good on paper, but actually playing it in the game, you may notice that you may not get it a lot, but when you can get it off, it's going to be devastating.
But I think that comes down to repetition and knowing when to place units or where to place units or what target is going to be good against, right? So I think, again, it comes down to reps. We'll get reps in with these and see how it works. But overall,
I love the strats.
Yeah.
I hate the enhancements.
Yes.
And I am very indifferent about the actual rule. However, I like the idea of taking Belisarius Call actually in this attachment.
Yeah.
Because then you could go cover, ignore AP1 and on -1.
It's got a lot of durability, but also got some tricksy, like offensive shooting capabilities, which I like. And yeah, I mean, if we're going to look at it, so obviously Skitarii is something that's going to be used
I think it's fair to say top units are Skitarii. The main ones I'd be looking at, though, are your Sicaran Rust Stalkers and Infiltrators, because they get a lot of stratagem support here.
Yeah.
Again, you could go in with your Taser Goads on your Infiltrators.
Yeah.
They get sustained. You could give them AP with a binaric offense, then take them off the table.
Yeah, sure.
Dragoons as well. They can play very offensively. The Siconian Dragoons with the Lances, the Taser Lances. Again, for the exact same reasons the Infiltrators, but they just have a harder hitting version of it.
Yep.
Iron Strider Ballistari as well. They're super good. Their shooting output in this, I think, will be really good.
Yeah.
And also their defensive profile.
Yeah.
But to just not talk about Skitarii for a second, I think other things that are fantastic in this attachment is Belisarius Call, for all the reasons I've said before. Just comboing stealth and then this idea of the essentially ignoring -2 is really good. And then I think it's fair to say, no matter what, you're probably just going to want a unit of breaches with a manipulus in any way.
Sure.
Because where you and it maybe even more so in this attachment, just because you have loads of there's emphasis on Skitarii anyway.
Yeah.
So you've got that as a rule.
Yeah.
And then the sterilizers as well, and the Cerberus Raiders, fantastic for mission play, and actually are quite hitty now.
Yeah, I do like the sterilizers for the deep striking down and like the burning people with the extra AP, especially in your opponent's deployment. Could be quite useful taking an objective off someone.
Yeah, I think they're really, really good. I think it's super solid and yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you for running through the detachment with me, mate.
That's right.
Guys, if you have any questions or like obviously if you're excited about this detachment, put it in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a like and a subscribe, and obviously we'll see you in the next detachment review.